Welcome to another Deadzone battle report. This today will be a 200-point game between my Plague and his Rebs. Again, I'm Tyler. That's
Tim.
And yeah, so without further ado, we've already rolled the mission, deployed the items, and got our teams ready. So let's just start going over what we brought. Alright, so on the Plague side, I'm bringing a Stage 1 leader who gets the mutation special faction ability, a Plague Teraton, that is my custom Plague Enforcer, a Plague Swarm, 3A with a heavy machine gun, a 3A with a grenade launcher, a Stage 2, 4 Stage 3As, and 2 dogs. And this will be my flag, and I'll explain that in just a second.
Alright, here we are back at it again with the always lucky Rebs. Here we have an Indige commander being proxied by Sorak. I'm looking forward to using the Hide in the Shadows leadership ability. Right next to him we have 4 rebel troopers, 2 Grogans, one of which has a onslaught cannon. These 3 goblin snipers are acting as proxy for the Z scavengers. Here we have 3 Indige troopers. This is acting as a Sphere Lancer, and of course a sniper and a Teraton. Alright, Tim here. The secret mission that I got was Disrupt, which said I secure an extra victory point for every enemy model that I kill that's holding an item from a crate.
Alright, so my secret mission is Push Through, which basically means that if I want to, I can take my models and exit through his deployment zone, giving me the points, including if they take an item, it's 1 point, so that's a potential thing. I'm probably going to focus mostly on killing and maybe attacking his weapons cache. So. Alright, so the board we are playing on today is my jungle board. Today's special scenario, since it's a Scour mission, I decided to make it kind of a old rundown depot of sorts where they would load up the stuff onto this big truck and in the middle of the jungle and get supplies from here to there. So that's kind of the background story I made up. We rolled for items. The large majority are in the middle, a couple cubes, you know, kind of like that. But this side definitely has an advantage because there's just a few more on their locations. So I won the recon roll, and we rolled our secret missions. We are going to do a bit different than what the book says. I was listening to the Deadzone podcast, shout out, and I really loved Rob's idea of using like a weapons storage area, and so that's what we're using those flags for. We'll have a dedicated cube in our deployment zone where we bring the items directly to and set up off the board. That way the models that bring them over can still play. And yeah, so on to deployment. Really quick, here's my deployment. We did the back 4 cubes and then 1 on the side. With my recon mission, I was able to advance 2 of my guys, so I moved up my leader and I moved up the Plague Swarm. And other than that, that's pretty much what it looks like.
Alright, no fancy deployment on my side. I just packed in as many units as I could, wherever I could. I'm bringing a lot with me, so it should be self-explanatory. Let's get going.
So at the end of round 1, basically a lot of stuff, shot at a lot of things, but not much happened. So as you can see, both armies moved up the board. The Plague picked up intel in the middle, so that's 2 victory points because of the scenario. And in this Rebs weapon cache, he collected 2 items, so that's also 2 victory points, in addition to killing a dog and a stage 3. This is the end of round 2. A lot more action this time. So from my recon roll, I knew that this item in here was intel, so my guy ran in there and picked it up. So that's 2 more victory points for me. That was followed up by a Teraton teleporting in there trying to kill him, but to no avail. And then my Plague Teraton responded by going in there on a Teraton v Teraton showdown to the death. After the first round of combat, nothing happened. I used an additional fight, and that resulted in the Plague Teraton getting wiped out. Also, in part because the sniper in the watchtower up there took some nice shots at him and got some damage. Other than that, a Yindage was pulled to pieces by these 2 plague beasties. And other than that, everything else moved up, and some guys got pinned, some guys got thrown around. The plague with its experimental weapon threw a rebel trooper off into this area. He basically broke his neck and died from the fall. That was pretty awesome. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in round 3. Coming to you at the end of round 3. Alright, so quite a bit happened here. First of all, this Plague Swarm started out down here, but because of Agile, climbed his way up here and massacred the sniper and a human using 2 fight actions from a command die. After that, a stage 2 killed a Yindage, but was shortly annihilated by a Grogan that was standing, let's see, here. So a lot of bloodshed this round. That, of course, was followed up by the Plague Enforcer taking some pot shots at the Grogan and the Sphere Lancer, who did not die before he gave 2 damage to this guy. So a lot happened. A lot is dead. This is the Plague Graveyard area, and this is the Rebel Graveyard area. So ran off the board carrying an item. So that's 1 more victory point for me and a safe stage 3. We had some movement, his commander's in the back over there, and that's pretty much where we're at. So, oh, and I forgot to mention, the Teraton annihilated the stage 3 that was in there, and the Yindage really annihilated the dog that was in his cube. So that is the end of that round, and here's the start of a new one. At the end of round 4, we are looking at Plague nearing victory after a successful round of killing more things. The Plague Swarm jumped down on a Yindage trying to escape and ate him up, as the Swarm so often does. We had this leader move forward just a little bit. This stage 3 brought an item back to the weapon store. And we got to have a little bit of a showdown here. 2 of those injury markers are for the stage 1, and the other one's for the Teraton. So that was good for the Plague, not so great for the Rebs. And yeah, that is where we are sitting at probably the last round. So this is the end of the game, with Plague winning at the end with 20 victory points, and then we decided to play a little fight out here, which resulted in the stage 1 also taking the Teraton down. So I guess it'd be 23 if we include that, and 20 to 12 if not. And that was it. That was our battle report, 200 points, Plague versus Rebels. And ultimately, I think the way we played Scour was pretty awesome. Having the weapon caches kind of gave an extra component of, like, should I go raid the other guys or not? I didn't really ever have any items in there. I only used it once, so I guess that wasn't really an option. But I like the idea that your guys aren't completely out of the game once they go in.
Yeah, I had a great time with this this particular match. You know, normally I feel like we always end up just playing, just kill each other types of missions where that's really all we try and do. But this one I really felt like I was actually, probably for the first time since I started playing Deadzone, I was actually conscientiously thinking about items and how I wanted to approach actually grabbing the items as opposed to how I was gonna set up my next kill. So I really enjoyed this new way to play Deadzone, at least for me anyway.
And then the other thing that I found that was really cool is like focusing on which guys actually, you know, cost something victory points wise. Because I saw that he has Z's, but I didn't go for him because they weren't that effective at what they were doing, and they're not worth the time and effort for my guys to shoot at them. So I kind of like the fact that you have to pick and choose what you do, kind of based on who's worth your time. And I think that's a neat aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Unit-wise, I got to try out the Plague Enforcer for the first time, and I think he's pretty darn awesome. He's really fun, just because his weapon changes each time, and then I kept using additional shoot actions on him just to try to get different results. And I mean, he got that way to fire 2 roll is just awesome, because that becomes one of the best guns in the game right there. But that, and then he also had the blast thing, which probably wouldn't have affected normally like armored troops, but since Rebs, you know, don't really believe in wearing anything other than t-shirts, a guy flew off a building and broke his neck, and that was really entertaining. So yeah, a big shout out to him. He's an awesome unit for what I saw. I don't know if he's as effective as the Plague Swarm for 20 points, but he sure is a lot of fun. So
yeah, and as far as Rebs go, I think if I would do this again, I would probably leave out some of the Z scavengers. The 1 to 2 movement compared to the Plague's 2 to 3 movement really just felt like it screwed me over, honestly. They just don't really have the movement to really get in there, grab an item, and get out as well as the Plague can.
And they could pick up to 3, but like to get that many in your hands at one time would be incredibly difficult because you're moving pretty slow. So
yeah, so I'm not a fan of those.
I could see bringing 1 just to kind of be that guy who sneaks under the radar, but I don't know if bringing 3 was the best decision. I mean, it's weird because I'm used to picking your army and then finding out what the mission was, but according to the beta rules, you pick the mission and then pick the guys that you want to bring with it. So I actually really enjoyed kind of making your guys custom to the actual like mission that you're gonna play, because I mean that makes sense in a like a story way. Guys wouldn't just run into the map and be like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, looks like I'm gonna go pick up items. Like, they would know in advance. So I like the way that worked out. Other units that are brand new to us would be the Sphere Lancer guy, which I think is definitely worth the points. He's only 18 points, and he brings a much needed 4-up shot to the Rebs.
Yeah, he definitely he pulled his weight this round. I definitely don't regret taking him as much as I do the Z scavenger.
Yeah, I mean, he did the Sphere did 2 damage to a stage 1, and that's pretty impressive. And then your sniper is also pretty good. So I think in terms of specialists, the Rebs definitely got better in the beta compared to the old edition.
Definitely.
So that's our final thoughts. Please comment, let me know what you thought. I want to see a lot of comments because I like reading those. Make sure you hit the subscribe button when it shows up. Watch my other videos, and we will be back with more very soon.
Can you believe this guy?